Hello, everyone. This is Yvette Myers. I'm a mental health counselor in the state of South Carolina, and my good friend Barbara asked me to come on with you guys and talk about depression with our significant others. And the title of this workshop is Depression with My Significant. We will talk about how depression operates within a couple, and I am a clinical and mental health counselor in the state of South Carolina. I work with depression, anxiety, grief, all things mental health, and I work with substance abuse. So let's jump into it because this time is going to go by really, really fast. Icebreaker. So I want you to grab a piece of paper and a pen, and we're going to do this right quick. I want you to answer these questions. Answer this question for me. Are you perfect? Now, scenario. You're walking down the hall and you overheard your best friend since third grade describe you. What are they saying? Next scenario. I know I'm not giving you enough time to write this down, but just think about it. The next scenario. You just finished a workshop and you go into the bathroom. You hear two people come in that completed the workshop with you, and they are talking about you. What are they saying? They don't know you. They only sat next to you during the workshop. What are they saying? Next scenario. Someone is introducing you as a speaker, and they can only mention the nice things that you have done for others. What are they saying? Are you perfect? Answer that for me. Do you want to be? Answer that for me. Is perfection an absolute? Do you think perfection is an absolute? Okay. Do you think you can be perfect? Can you apply the label before you reach the destination? Can I say that I'm perfect and then continuously strive to be perfect? Perfect is defined as having all the required or desirable elements or qualities or characteristics. Another definition is as good as it is possible to be. Another one is to make something completely free from faults or defects. Excuse me. Excuse me. We had an alarm the last workshop. Now we got this one. I need coffee. Okay. To make something completely free of faults or defects, or close to a condition, as close to a condition as possible. As close to a condition or possible. Perfect isn't even perfect. And sometimes we hold our significant others to a term or a desire of perfection that even the term perfection and perfect is working towards something, is working towards no defaults or no defects. So to be perfect is to work towards. So we all can be perfect as long as you're on a continuum to become more perfect. That's a wordplay, and it just lets me see and lets me. That's the country in me. It allows me to see that even if I hold my significant other to a standard, that perfection is to continuously move towards no fault or no flaws. If they are continuously moving towards that destination, then to remind them that they are not perfect is not their imperfection, but it's mine. Does that make sense? Cool. Now, I talked about it last workshop, last webinar, but I'm going to mention it again. The Bowen systems, family systems. Now, what this states is, the Bowen system it states is, when one is affected, all will be affected at a different rate or a different degree. Anxiety and energy travels throughout your home. If it isn't controlled, my screen just got really, really big. And though if it isn't controlled, it will likely end up in your children or the least resistant person in the home, which will likely be your children. Anxiety travels from family members to family members, and we call it, there's a triangle effect in the Bowen system family theory. It's like this. That's a triangle, y'all. Just go with it. Okay. One person's experienced anxiety, and the husband comes home and he tells his significant, and before as he walks through this door, his significant other can see that there is something wrong. She immediately picks up that anxiety. And as she picks up that anxiety, she begins to behave differently. As she begins to behave differently, the child picks up that anxiety, or the least resistant person in the home picks up that anxiety. It could be the dog. It could be the husband. It can go back into a circle. But as the husband comes home stressed, he brings it to the wife. As soon as he walks through the door, the wife can pick up that anxiety. As the wife picks up that anxiety, she's going to release it to the child, because you cannot hold on to that. You cannot. And you're going to give it to somebody, and you're going to give it to somebody either willingly or unwillingly. And 9 times out of 10, and I hate to use statistics, but in this instance, but more than likely, it's going to end up in a child. And a child is least resistant. Now, when a child picks up that anxiety, they don't say what we say. They don't say, I'm stressed, I'm upset, so I need to go see a doctor. What they do is they start acting out. And as they act out, the husband gets back involved. And as he gets in, or if it's a single mom or a single home, the head of the household gets back involved. And they begin to discipline the child based on the behavior that they brought into the home that affected the child. Does that make sense? No, it doesn't. But it does make sense in the scheme of things. But sure, that's how anxiety travels. And in the Bowen system theory, what affects one affects all. And in the cow theory, as I talked about the last webinar, is when if a cow backs up into electric wire, as they back up, they're going to yelp with a moo. All the cows in their immediate area are going to yelp, moo. And then in the intensity of that yelp is going to dissipate as it moves away from the cow. Now that anxiety can also jump across the street to the cows across the street. They'll begin to yelp. Now, if they begin to move, it's not going to be at the same intensity, but they will still feel it. Now, and it all started with one cow backing up into electric barbed wire. So if a parent comes home with that anxiety, if a parent comes home with that stress, with that depression, if a parent comes home after they've encountered and picked up all that energy from outside and they bring it inside, the children, the significant other, the children, everything in the house is going to be affected by that. It has to be monitored. You have to watch it. You have to make sure that when you come home, that everything that's outside of you, naturally, you leave it at your door. When I first became a counselor, I used to physically say, leave my counseling at my doorstep. I would get to the door and I would physically say, I'm not taking you inside my house. Now, when I got up the next morning and walked outside, guess what was waiting out there for me? Yeah, my issues or my clients. But I was not bringing it in the house. I did initially, and as I saw that it was affecting my household, I realized that I needed to do something about it. Exercise. Now, this is really, really fun. And so I need you to cooperate with me. So this is what we're going to do. If you are doing something right now, stop. And I'm going to give you 2 seconds to stop. Okay, 1, 2. Okay, stop. Now that you've stopped and I have your undivided attention, this is what I want you to do. When it comes to couples, I like to use this term automatic thought. So I'm going to read a scenario to you. If you don't have paper and pencil, I need you to go get it. I'm going to read a scenario to you. And as I read the scenario to you, I'm going to stop. And I'm going to say, what's your automatic thought? And what's your emotion? And I need you to give me feedback. Let me know that you're listening to me. Let me know that you're hearing me. So I'm going to say, as I read the scenario, I'm going to say, give me your automatic thought and give me your emotion. Okay, you ready? Okay, here goes. An 80-year-old woman recently buried her husband after 65 years of marriage. I need your automatic thought. Put a number 1 by this. Automatic thought. What's the first thing that you're thinking of right now? And tell me how you feel about it. Got it? Next. Number 2. Her children returned to their respective homes after unsuccessfully getting her to leave her home and return with them. Now, give me your automatic thought and give me your emotion. How do you feel about it? Got it? Number 3, she decided to go walking one day and saw a homeless man sitting on the stoop. 3, give me your automatic thought and give me your emotion. How do you feel about it? 4, she reached in her bag and she gave him $5. Automatic thought, emotion. 5, he got up. Automatic thought, emotion. 6, he walked around her and stated how nice her coat was. Automatic thought, emotion. 7, she froze. He grabbed her left shoulder. Automatic thought, emotion. 8, she turned swiftly around and shot him. You didn't see that coming, did you? Automatic thought, emotion. Now, I'm going to save the answer. We're going to talk about this at the end. Did he deserve to be shot? Did she overreact? We'll talk about that later. Now, when it comes to couples, it is important, very, very important, that couples understand and couples see or feel or hear or emotional. They are emotionally attached to each other. I gave an example last time about a room full of light switches. If you were to equate depression to a room filled with light switches, everywhere that there was a spot on the wall, there was a light switch. Depression would walk into a room and one by one begin to turn the light switches off. Initially, the person that's in the room would not see a problem. However, someone coming in the room a day, a week, a month, a year later can clearly see that the lights are off, that something is going on. And as they do, it is up to the it's ideally important for the person that's going through the depression to the person that witnessed it to identify it and help them get help. Now, we have to identify when we are connected to someone to help them see that something that they may not see, and to help them see something when their behavior is off. When people begin to experience depression, it's good and it's bad when there's someone living in the house with you, because you can see and physically feel that something is definitely wrong. And it's important and couples to immediately say something. Something is different. Something is wrong. What's going on? Emotional symptoms of depressions are withdrawal from socializing. You want to go out. You don't want to go out no more. You just want to hang out at the house. Nothing's wrong with that, because I'm a homebody. And I would rather sit home and watch TV or have someone sit on my feet than to go out. But socializing is a withdrawal from socializing. Loss of interest in previously enjoyed hobbies. Things that you used to do, you stop doing it. Consistent irritability or sadness. Now that is really important when it comes to husbands or significant males looking at their significant females. There's a thing about being irritable. There's a thing about being cranky. There's a thing about being, quote unquote, I don't you like to use this term, but nagging. But when it's excessive, something else could be going on. Get them, either go with them to get help or take them or send them or something. Constant pessimism, feeling inadequate and self-loathing. I'm not perfect, like. Physical symptoms of depression are erratic sleep habits, loss of appetite, an increase in appetite, constant fatigue, muscle aches, headaches, back pains, any vague, non-specific, undiagnosable pain can be a sign of depression. And if it's not, and if it is, then get some help. Find someone to talk to. Go to a doctor. Go to your primary physician first, and then go from there. Short-term effects of depression are a loss in appetite, loss of weight, loss of sex drive, or sex dysfunction. Other physical symptoms, insomnia, hypersomnia, sleeping too much, which can cause you to feel fatigued. Sleeping too much can cause you to feel more tired. That sounds really crazy, but it can. Long-term effects of depression are malnutrition from not eating enough, a drop in short-term memory, finding it easier to forget things. Long-term depression can lead to suicide. Everyday Health states that over 66% of suicides have depression as a factor. Worsening of other illnesses or health problems. Depression makes everything else more badder. Just go with that term. It makes everything else more badder. Depression changes our lives by slowly taking us from 100 to 0. It walks in a room and strategically begin to turn light switches off until you're sitting in the dark, you're depressed, and as it gets worse, suicide becomes an option. We have to be mindful, especially in couples. Be mindful of when behavior changes. Be mindful of when energy changes. Be mindful of when something is not right. Husbands, listen. Sometimes we just want you to listen. We don't need it fixed. We just need your ear. And then sometimes we need you to fix it. However, unfortunately, we don't come with a manual, and we don't say many times, okay, now I want you to fix it. And now I want you to listen. You just got to somehow know the difference. And you just got to know. I don't have an answer for that. You just got to know. So back to the automatic thought and the emotion. When we talked about the 80-year-old woman who very recently buried her husband, what were your automatic thoughts? Talk to me. What were you thinking? And I'm going to need you to talk to me, because this doesn't work if you don't talk to me. Some of the automatic thoughts can be, oh my God, what a sad thing. Oh my God. An emotion can be sad or disappointed. Men are different in depression by, that's a good question, Craig, because my, this workshop is biased. That's a good question. Men are different in depression because when men become depressed, they give more energy to things that cause them less anxiety. And men, if you're out there, tell me if I'm wrong. They begin to divert their energy to things that give them the least amount of resistance. So if a man is depressed and he comes home and he says, and his energy has changed, he begins to withdraw. And the first thing that his wife says is, what's wrong? And he says, nothing. And then she says, yes, it is. Something is wrong. And he says, nothing's wrong. And then we go back and forth in this tug of war until he just says something or it turns into an argument. So if a man is depressed and you ask him what's wrong and he says nothing, being available and being present when and if he wants to talk is ideal. Now, let me tell you the difference between being available and being present. Anybody can be present. You can be, I'm present here on this website, and you're present there looking at me. But being available is allowing yourself to see and feel what it's the communication without the words. I like that part. To the communication without the words. Now, let me tell you something that I learned a very long time ago. And if this is inappropriate, then Barbara, I'm sorry. I just really don't know what to say, but I'm finna say it. But let me tell you something. This is Yvette talking. This is not a counselor talking. I learned this a very long time ago. When men the more depressed that some men are, the more they want to feel. And and many times men equate feeling to physical, having sex, being intimate with their partner. Now, if he's in a bad place and he needs to feel, because a lot of times men feel through intercourse, and she's in a bad place where she's standoffish and she's pushing him away. Now you have a conflict. You have two magnets turned the opposite way. So I'm not sure how this is going to be resolved, but somebody's got to give, or things are this. We already know, we grown. Something bad can happen. So if he's in a position where he's being, you know what I'm saying, he needs to be in contact with his significant other. I'm not going to tell a woman that she has to, or she should, or she shouldn't, what she should or shouldn't do in her bedroom. That is your decision. But to be available to your man at that time is ideal. Does that help? I'm waiting on your answer, Craig. You asked me, so I'm answering. Okay. He's not going to answer. Back to what I was saying. When I talked about the first person, the 80-year-old woman, when I talked about her, your automatic thought about thank you, sweetie. When I talked about the 80-year-old woman when she recently buried her husband, the automatic thought. Now, let me tell you how it happens in couples. What you think first is usually wrong, especially when it comes to when I'm thinking that you thinking that I'm thinking that he thinking that I don't like what he did. Now, how many movements is that? I'm thinking for myself, but not only am I thinking for myself, I'm thinking for him, and not what he is thinking, but what he may be thinking that I'm thinking. That sounds ridiculous. So far ridiculous. So, when it comes to automatic thoughts, when the 80-year-old woman recently buried her husband after the marriage of, thanks, Greg, your automatic thought is, you know what I'm saying, that's sad. Sometimes you listen to being present and being mindful is is listening to your automatic thought, and then taking it to what I like to call thought court. That's not to be confused with a thought. I'm talking about thought court. Is there any reasonable reason? Is there any reasonability? Is that a word? Just go with it. For me to say this word, to say this statement. What am I thinking? And is it reasonable? Her children returned back to their homes after unsuccessfully getting her to leave at their home and return with them. What's your automatic thought? Most people would say, well, that's sad that they would leave her. Why would they try to force her to go back with them? She's probably known that house all her life. And your emotion is, I just feel sorry for her. She decided to go walking on a day. That's what people usually do. Go on to walk for a day. A homeless man sitting on the stoop. Automatic thought, oh, she's trying to help him. She's trying to give him something. She reached into her bag and gave him $5. He got up. Automatic thought, what is he getting up for? He shouldn't have got up. He should have just stayed seated. But you're going to tell a grown man that he can't get up? You know what I'm saying? He walked around her and he stated that her coat was nice. Our minds go, okay, the automatic thought. Oh my God, he's about to kill her. He's about to hurt her. He's about to take advantage of her. That's messed up. He's just a bum. She froze. He grabbed her left shoulder. Automatic thought, he is about to hurt her. Oh my God, emotion. This escalated when it is possible that it could not have. This escalated to somebody being shot when this is clearly a basic incident that can happen in anybody's home, that can escalate to a point where someone can get hurt, and to the point where not being shot, but being hurt individually, emotionally, that you can't recover from. So when you experience those automatic thoughts, take them to thought court. What am I thinking, and how reasonable is this? And separate your emotions from your thoughts, because realistically and realism and emotions can't operate in the same place. You have to decide which one you want, to be real or emotional. So, did he deserve it? From her perspective, she's looking at it. He deserved it. He shouldn't have walked around her. He shouldn't have touched her. Why did he get up? From his position, that was a nice coat. I just wanted to touch the coat. That's how relationships can go. That's how things can happen. They can escalate to the point where it's out of control and someone's hurt. Once someone's hurt, how many times that can't be repaired? Take your thoughts to thought court. Try them. Give them a defense, and then prosecute them. And once you do that, then get past how you feel. It really doesn't matter how your significant other. If I take my time and I focus on how he feels, and he takes his time and he focuses on how I feel, there's no room for either one of us to be nothing but whole. And that is my time. Do you guys have any questions? Thanks, Craig, for saying I was spot on, even from a woman's perspective. You guys have any questions? Talk to me. Also, I did this workbook, but I do workshops once a month. If you I didn't get the last part of that question, Barbara. Can a spouse what? How can a man? How can a man tell if a woman is depressed? Because we're going to go back to what I was saying. She's going to change. You cannot physically be depressed and not change. Something's going to change. Some people are high functioning depressed, people that are depressed, but something is going to change. That goes back to emotional withdrawal, physical withdrawal, and short-term effects of depression and long-term effects of depression. You're going to change. If he sees something in you that is not different from what it used to be, that's a sign of depression. If it's not, might be a clinical depression, it could be to the point where she just needs to talk to somebody. And unfortunately, fortunately, however you want to look at it, many times talking to your significant other is not an option. And some people, well, why she can't talk to me? Why he can't talk to me? We're one. There are some things that your significant other is not going to tell you. And if you live in a world where you believe that they're going to tell you everything, I'm not going to take you out of that world. I'm going to allow you to stay there. But they're not. So help them get to somebody. Help them see somebody else. And my voice is going. Anybody else have any questions? If you want to get this entire pamphlet, it's a little pamphlet that I did for the workshops that I do. It's more information in here. I encourage you to go to my website at www.betterdecisionsbetterhealth.com and order it. And that is my time. How can we communicate to better? Let me do this exercise right quick. I'm glad you asked me that. Give me 1 second, y'all. My friend told me I need to get a smaller glass. For what? Anyway, so check this out. I want you guys to if you want this what is called PowerPoint, let me know. Send me your email address and I'll drop it in and I'll email it to you. But before I go, I want you guys to do this. I want you to close your eyes and I'm going to say something. And I want you to hear what I am feeling. Okay, you ready? Close your eyes. Oh my God. My dog died. Oh my God, I am so sad. Okay, now open your eyes. What I wanted you to do is, I wanted you to hear my emotions. If you want to, men, I'm gonna give you this. This is free. This is not gonna cost you anything. Women, this is free too. You can do this also. When you are dealing with a significant other, hear what they are not saying, because they will say it with their emotions as they're talking. If you can listen for the emotion and hear what the words are saying, but address the emotion, you can have a better communication. The roads of communication will stay clear. There will never be any traffic. What happens is we hear what men, a lot of times some men hear what women are saying and they try to fix that when she's clearly frustrated and upset. And it has nothing to do with what she's talking about. She's just frustrated. For instance, if I came home and I said, I can't believe this heifer came in my office and she dropped an entire cup of coffee on my desk as I had this really important report to do. And I told her not to bring it in my office. I told her not to sit it on my desk, and she sat it there anyway. Now, if you were to listen to my emotions, it was not that she actually did that, because even though I'm upset about that, people do have accidents. It's about, the biggest problem is the report that I had to do. So if I was a man in the flip side of this conversation and I was listening, I would say, what do you need to do? Or how do you think you can fix the report? I wouldn't even address the heifer. I wouldn't even address the coffee, because the issue is the report. I would address, what do you think we need to do to fix this report? How do you need any help getting that done? That's how I would address that. And then she would eventually come around about the heifer and the coffee. Let her do that. But if you listen to the emotion and what's going on with what's being said, then you can get around all the riffraff. Does that make sense? I hope it does. And that's my time. I'm 5 minutes over, so I'm going to end right there. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Barbara, for inviting me. Again, www.betterdecisionsbetterhealth.com to get this pamphlet, and I'll send it to you. Love you guys. Bye-bye.